I want to thank all our members of the media who are here today to mark a very somber day here in New York State, and I would even say across the country. Of course, it was a year ago today that the governor issued the now infamous directive to send COVID-positive patients into our nursing home facilities. It's an order that he would love for all of you to forget. It's an order that I believe he has worked very hard to cover up, and to cover up the result of that order, which was ultimately the deaths of at least 15,000 of our parents, grandparents, loved ones in nursing homes due to COVID-19 and due to this order and this directive. He has taken no accountability. The only apology he issued was to some elected officials for the political inconvenience that it may have caused them. He has never apologized once to the families who are here today to remember their loved ones, to remember that they had lives, that they are not just a data point on a PowerPoint slide, and they couldn't even say goodbye. So when somebody like the governor says, "Who cares?" I care, we care, the families care, and we're not going to ever forget. And we're going to get to the truth. And it's been an honor to lead our conference in the Senate. I know my assembly colleagues who are here who have consistently, for months, called for answers, for an investigation, for the truth. Because we knew we were not getting the full truth, and we knew that these families who are here today and countless other families who can't be here today deserve nothing less than the truth. And it's an honor to call up next a colleague of mine, someone who has been a leader in this from day one. She's someone who, she was elected to the Senate with me. I consider her both a colleague and a friend, someone who is a fighter in every sense of the word, and someone who has been a champion for the families who lost loved ones, and someone who I'm proud to call my friend, Senator Sue Serino.
Thank you, Leader. Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to thank everyone for being here, my colleagues, the media, and most importantly, the families that are here with us today, because today it's all about you and your loved ones. So thank you. We're here today to recognize the lives and legacies of the 15,000 plus lost to COVID in New York nursing homes and residential healthcare facilities. I'd like to ask for everyone to join us in a moment of silence to honor the families, please. Thank you. You know, for too many New York families, March 25th, 2020 is a day that changed their lives forever. As we all know by now, on that day, the governor issued a memo that required nursing homes and adult care facilities to accept COVID-positive patients and actually banned them from testing these individuals. While the governor's administration has argued that this order has had no impact on the rate of COVID infection in these facilities, independent analysis suggests otherwise. And no matter what you believe about the March 25th order, the reality is New York State did not do nearly enough to protect the 15,000 plus during this COVID crisis. By memorializing these individuals here today, we want to make it clear that these residents were so much more than numbers on some state spreadsheet. These were real people with real lives whose deaths should not be in vain. It is in their memory that we continued the fight for justice, for better policies, and to ensure that no one else ever has to suffer the way these families have that are beside me today. That's why I've introduced a resolution in honor. They're formally recognizing today as We Care Remembrance Day. I'm sure we all remember when the governor arrogantly asked, "Who cares?" when pressed about his administration's undercounting of these deaths. Well, we care. We care enough to remember. We also care enough to continue to push for those answers. Mark my words, we will not forget about these COVID victims. And now I'd like to introduce one of my colleagues, Senator Jim Tedesco, who has been a steadfast champion on this issue from day one. Thank you, Senator Tedesco.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you to my colleagues in the legislature who are with me, and especially thank you to the families. I'm going to have to take these glasses off. You would think with all the innovations that had to take place, the changes we have to make, they'd make a windshield wiper for glasses here. They have not done that. I have a pin on here you would see. This young lady's name was Doris Matheus. And here today is her son, Dan Matheus. And amongst those family members here and her, as we honor them, we honor the entire 15,000 individuals who lost their lives. Believe it or not, Doris was 102 years old. Wow. A very healthy 102 years old. She was going to be 103, and I hope Dan will show you, I know he will, the beautiful picture of her. Unfortunately, today, there was a president who once said that something that happened to this nation would live in infamy. March 25th, 2020, March 25th, 2021, and all March 25th in New York State, I believe will live in infamy. Because as has been said by our leader, and Sue, that is the day that our governor put forth that March 25th executive order. An order that lacked total common sense, lacked logic, lacked any understanding of what many times the chief executive said, we're going to follow the science. The science, I don't think in any way, and the medical professionals are saying that now, said that a very contagious virus, individuals who have that should be forced to go into our congregate nursing homes and other facilities, and as the governor actually said it himself, spread this virus like wildfire going through dry grass. And the other tragedy that relates to this is that not only did we have, at the end of the day, one of the worst tragedies in the history of New York State. It can only be defined as that. 15,000 of our loving family members, our most vulnerable population, lost their lives. We believe, I believe the investigations will show that action on the 25th led to a great deal of that happening. But a part of that tragedy is a leader, is a chief executive, a man who got an Emmy for communicating, someone who will never get an Emmy for transparency, openness, and honesty, lied, distorted the truth, and really covered it up, as has been mentioned. Not only, I think, because he was going to be embarrassed, which he should be, not only because it might impact his reputation, but we know now from some of the investigation and the reports he was writing a book about a COVID slayer. But actually he was and became and is a COVID purveyor. And the sad tragedy is we're going to be coming together, and it's important that we do every March 25th to commemorate the beautiful, loving loved ones who contributed so much to the state of New York, keeping it the Empire State. And we're going to have to do that year in and year out because it's important to never forget. Just like that Pearl Harbor Day, this particular day we can never forget. And we have the Capitol building behind us. I believe we could have stopped this from happening. We could have stopped this from happening if the governor had listened to us and didn't wait till April 11th to say, wait a second, I'm going to change course. I'm going to say you must be tested before you go into a nursing home. You cannot go into a nursing home unless you test positive. And after he did that, he said, well, I didn't do that because my first March 25th executive order caused all that. But he never gave us an answer of why he really did that. But we know why he really did that. But we did never and did not take away his emergency powers. And I have to tell you, to this day, we have not taken away his emergency powers. Today, I will be putting a bill on the floor, an amendment, to actually take away his emergency powers. Because the bill that was passed several weeks ago put in place the fact that those 60 executive orders, he can amend any one of those. still has control of all those. And you know what he could do? Believe it or not, in this office right now, on that executive order that he repealed, the March 25th, he could put that back in place today if he wanted to. That illustrates that he still has those executive orders. So the way we can continue to honor these loved ones is to drill down, get the total answers, and take all those individuals to the place where they understand what they did, we understand what they did, and they pay the penalty, ultimate penalty. But today we say, God bless those who lost their lives. We will never forget you, and we will fully get the answers to the questions necessary. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Tedesco. You know, I always say when it came to the March 25th order, these residents didn't have a choice or a voice. But out of this dark time, we found a real light in the Voices for Seniors organizations that was started by Vivian and Alexa Zayas, who got to work immediately to advocate for all of these families. In our quest for answers, my colleagues and I have joined Voices for Seniors' effort in asking the New York State Comptroller to issue a referral to the Attorney General to allow them to commence a more thorough investigation into the state's actions during this time. A copy of our letter is actually included in your release today. So speaking on behalf of the Voices for Seniors today is Anne Brancotti.
I'm going to apologize because I'm not a very good public speaker. But good morning. I'm a upstate New York gal from the Adirondacks. And on January 25th, 2021, my family lost my mother-in-law, who was a 10-year resident at our local nursing home. On behalf of Voices for Seniors of New York, I'd like to thank Senator Serino for being so gracious, for giving me this opportunity to share with you all just exactly how Governor Andrew Cuomo's reckless and disgraceful directive and then ultimate cover-up of the New York State nursing home deaths have severely impacted the livelihoods of our most vulnerable, our seniors. I am a lifelong resident of New York State, 30 years married to my high school sweetheart. Our families are all proud small business and restaurant owners of New York, all in our local communities. Most of us have settled right down here in our hometown, building our families and our futures. My mother-in-law obviously was most certainly a part of that equation. We would come to find her to reside, as I said, in our hometown nursing home, Fort Hudson Health Systems, just a quick 5-minute drive from our home. She would settle in well, and the tremendous staff and nurses at Fort Hudson for almost 10 years took care of Eleanor extraordinarily. And even during the COVID-19 pandemic, they were transparent in giving us daily information into the nursing home facility. However, even after published news articles in my local newspaper, the Post-Star, quoted by the CEO of Fort Hudson Systems Nursing Home, Andrew Cruikshank, who was stated in the newspaper, "We don't think this is advisable to do," in reference to the mandate on March 25th. The emergency order set forth by Governor Cuomo to force nursing homes to take positive COVID-19 patients on because of his reckless orders and obstruction of justice. 15,000 plus fellow New Yorkers would soon forever be reminded just how personal corruption at the highest level can affect somebody like me. My beautiful mother-in-law, Eleanor Brancotti, passed away at the nursing home. For 11 months, with millions of other New York seniors, she laid in her bed at night, not understanding the governor's emergency orders. Exactly 1 year ago today, on March 25th, 2020, Governor Cuomo took my family's life and turned it completely around. She sadly would never feel the touch of her children or the familiar laugh of her grandchildren, nor would she hear those old Italian songs that would comfort her during her struggles with dementia. It took me a while to come up with the words to express to you all the emotions that were felt that night. It's not a cliche. Sometimes words can't describe feelings. In our bedroom that night, my husband and I laid in bed, saying our first hello in almost 11 months, and sadly the last goodbye on our cell phone through Facebook. I could not remember a more heartbreaking moment for my husband other than losing his father to cancer. How could he handle the unknown? Was she scared? Was she in pain? Did she understand that we didn't come to visit because we couldn't? It was taken away from us. Dementia is a terrible disease that should never steal away someone's dignity. Only Governor Cuomo could have done that. He took that away from my mother-in-law. So I stand before all of you, especially the media. Our stories are real. They're true life events, and sadly, if you need to confirm them, they are all in our local obituaries in our newspapers. On behalf of Voices for Seniors, again, I want to thank Senator Serino and all of you, and I thank you for your time. I only ask if you could please uncover the truth. For all of the 15,000 seniors, my beautiful mother-in-law, Eleanor Brancati, I am here for her voice today, along with the 15,000 other New Yorkers, asking for complete transparency of Governor Andrew Cuomo and his handling of this pandemic. He has lied to our government, and most importantly, he has lied to the people of this beautiful state of New York. New Yorkers shouldn't have to demand honesty in government or to get attention from you, the media, in order to expose a governor's corruption. These many voices are crying out. They are asking you to help them get their answers. And they're also asking, when will folks care? When will enough be enough? Driving 45 minutes to the state capitol wasn't my idea. To ask for transparency, it's unethical, it's unjust, most importantly, it's criminal, and Governor Cuomo should answer our voices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ann. Now I'd like to introduce Cindy Lizzie and her brothers Ted and Phil Minisal, who have done tremendous work shining the light on this issue.
My name is Phil Minisal. This is my sister, Cindy Lizzie, and my brother, Ted Minisal. We're here to speak for someone who cannot speak because of the March of 25th mandate of last year. As Senator Tedesco said, it truly is a day that will live in infamy because 15,000 people, including our mom, passed away because of the mandate given by this governor. It's inexcusable. It's not right. We're so saddened by it. We miss our mom very much. And we want to thank Sue Serino for bringing this to light, and all the other senators and assemblymen who are here, and the media for giving us the opportunity to speak about our mom, and also Ted's father-in-law, who also passed away a couple weeks after. Our mom passed away in the hospital, coming from the nursing home. And because of the governor fixing the numbers for whatever political advantage that would bring, she was never counted as a death in the nursing home until Letitia James brought that to light. And we're so grateful to her for doing that and for starting the ball rolling. Our mom would be very proud, as would our dad, who passed away 4 years ago, for us speaking up for our family and for our mom. They were the best parents we could ever have. We were blessed. I'm sure a lot of people out here who have great parents and great siblings would understand exactly how we feel about what went on. But it truly is a day that will in infamy, and it should be remembered. And I thank everyone so much, for speaking up. And I think what you said is exactly the way we feel, and our mom would want that. And thank you so much for speaking for us, for bringing us to light. This is very important for all of us. And I want whoever wants to go.
I just want to say something short. My mother was in a nursing home for 3 years. We were there every day. We came right before dinner. We fed her dinner. We took her to the chapel to say her favorite prayers. We put her to bed, and we said we'd see you the next day. And on March 12th, that was the last day we could comfort our mother. And our hearts are broken forever. And the governor needs to be made accountable for his huge mistake. This mandate on March 25th ruined so many lives.
Ted.
Thank you very much for everyone being here and for what everyone is doing. It was a terrible time. A year ago today, when this mandate came out, it was putting thousands of lives in jeopardy. And a year later, as a result, over 15,000 people have died in nursing homes. My father-in-law passed away in the same nursing home that my mom was in, 2 weeks apart from each other. They were both sent out to the hospital and not accounted for. And it's just horrible, and these things have to be remembered forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Marianne Boniello, who traveled all the way from Delaware this morning to speak to all of you on behalf of her family who lives in my district in the Hudson Valley. Thank you, Marianne.
Hi.
Give me that.
That's fine. Thank you. I have to lower my mask so I don't fog up so I can read. I thank Senator Serino, too, for this opportunity to speak on behalf of my entire family for the loss that we suffered, losing both parents 8 days apart. My parents, William and Hilda Durr, resided in the home they built in Buchanan, New York for 65 years. This is where they raised my 4 brothers and I. They shared a love of God, each other, their 5 children and spouses, 13 grandchildren and spouses, and 10 great-grandchildren. After 65 years, it was the family's decision, not theirs, to move into assisted living. There they stayed for 3 years. Their final residence was at Cortland Healthcare, Cortland Manor, New York. My dad had entered the nursing home for rehab from a broken hip. My mom had Alzheimer's, so was admitted to the nursing home as well. Here in long-term care, they could share a room, and that honored my father's wishes never to be separated. They were in long-term care for about 9 months when COVID happened. The last time I saw my parents alive was March 8th, 2020. The next day, the facility closed its doors to all visitors. During the month of April, my dad developed a cold which led to pneumonia. He was diagnosed with COVID and taken to the hospital. While the decision that the family made not to put him on a ventilator, he was released back to the nursing home for palliative care. There, he was admitted to the floor specified for COVID patients. He was now separated from my mom for his final days. The nursing home staff was amazing. They kept all 5 of us informed multiple times as to his condition. We thank God that he was not aware of what was happening and that he was not next to my mother. They sat with him and said prayers. God called Dad home April 25th, 2020. He was 93. My mom was still in the regular room, and she was then diagnosed with COVID. She was moved to the COVID patient floor. Her suffering was harder and longer in time. Once again, the nursing home staff stepped in for us as a family. God called Mom home 8 days later on May 3rd, 2020. She was 89. Our funeral home worked quickly so that we could do a multiple burial together for them on May 4th. Due to COVID, my brother from Tennessee rented an RV to keep his family self-contained. My husband and I drove from Delaware. Our children could not attend due to COVID restrictions and just to stay safe for their children. Governor Cuomo, have you attended a COVID burial? It's heartless. Our faces were covered, families not present, no embracing or consoling each other. There were 2 caskets sitting in front of us with name tags on the handles, so we knew who was in each. What should have been attended by many was attended by few. We are now planning their celebration of life mass for this June, with the hopes that all of their family and friends can be present. They would have been married 70 years this June 23rd. To be reminded over and over again that Governor Cuomo covered up the numbers of these nursing home victims for his own self-promotion is disgusting. These lives matter. We need him to be held accountable for the actions he put in place that caused more deaths. He needs to admit his wrongdoing and accept the consequences of his actions. William and Hilda Durr died alone. Our family has had no closure, no mourning, and has had to accept that we could not be there when they needed us the most. Governor Cuomo, did you count Hilda and William Durr in? Thank you. I don't think so. I got 3 of mine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marianne. So heart-wrenching. Now I'd like to introduce Dan Matheus, who has been working closely with Senator Tedesco.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. And a special thank you to all these legislators who are working so hard to address this issue. I'm Dan Mathias, originally from the Buffalo, New York area, currently living in Saratoga County, and my mother died last year on May 17th. It's hard to believe that a little over a year ago, we would have been celebrating her 102nd birthday. I called her at her Remembrance ceremony in August last year, a woman of true grit, surviving the Spanish flu, surviving the loss of 2 husbands, surviving the loss of children, surviving the loss of siblings and good friends. She was quite a lady. She lived independently until 2018, when she had to move into a nursing home due to a medical condition. When COVID-19 hit last March, we got the call that the nursing homes were being shut down. Her birthday celebration was canceled. And then several weeks later, on April 25th, we got the word that the first case of COVID was tested positive in the nursing home. And as Senator Tedesco said, it was like a wildfire through dry grass. Between April 25th and when my mother contracted COVID on the 6th of May, 66 of the 80 long-term patients tested positive. 39 of them passed away, including 1 staffer. I've shared my experience with Senator Tedesco and thank him and his Republican colleagues for being out front on this issue, seeking a bipartisan investigation with subpoena power to get answers so that something like this never happens again. If you want to truly remember the 15,000 who died in nursing homes, we need to demand a thorough, transparent, and truthful investigation so that future generations aren't standing here on a Remembrance Day asking for a future investigation for us. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say thank you to everyone once again for being here today. And to continue to be raising awareness, we are asking folks to light a candle in honor of the 15,000 plus, take a photo of it and share it on social media using the hashtag WeCare and 15,000 plus. It's our hope that going forward, this day will serve as a permanent reminder of the need to always protect our most vulnerable, no matter what crisis we have. So thank you.
Thank you.